What's up guys, my name is Emma and welcome back to my channel. It's raining outside right now. Alright, so today we're going to be talking about driving school and like this experience that I had. So I had already finished my 2-week course and I just had to get my driving lessons out of the way. And so I was on lesson, I believe it was 2. This happened a couple of weeks ago, so I'm not going to say her name. I'm just going to replace it with a different name. So I had heard a lot of things about this lady, Miss Higgins. And she was an older lady I knew because people had already like called her like old people names that were really offensive and rude that I'm not going to say. But they were saying some terrible things about this woman, and I don't really judge a book by its cover. I don't really care, you know. I just kind of like push it aside and be like, well, I hope I don't get her, but you know, I don't care if I do or whatever. So people were always talking about how she made people cry and she cussed and she was just loud, and so I had 2 lessons with her so far. So I'm still in driving school. Like I still have a couple lessons, so I wish she doesn't see this video. But me and this girl, we both had her on the same day. So I walked in, this other girl's already sitting down, and I'm gonna call her Rebecca. And so Miss Higgins, she had to go to the bathroom, so she told us to go check the car, and we did. And I looked in the car to see which side I was gonna sit on because I wasn't gonna drive first because I didn't want to drive first, and this girl was on a higher lesson than me. So she drove first and I sat in the back, and I looked in the car and the seat on the passenger side was like scooped back all the way like onto the back seat, and I was like, well, I guess I'll sit on the other side, which I like sitting behind the passenger so I can be on my phone, but this wasn't the case. I couldn't do that with this lady. And so I had to sit behind the driver, and Miss Higgins came out, and she, you know, sits in her seat with her cane. She was a really large lady, I may add. I was kind of concerned about my safety just because she was larger and older, and that I felt like she wouldn't be able to like get on the brakes if she needed to. But yeah, that was like all that I was kind of concerned about. It's my safety. Anyways, so she looked at the dashboard and saw that we needed gas. And so there was a gas station right in front of the driving school, and so we just pulled in there, and she told Rebecca to go in and to go pay for the gas, and she told us all to get out of the car because she wanted to show us how to pump gas. And so Rebecca went inside and told them to put gas in pump 3 or whatever because you couldn't pay at the pump. And so so Rebecca went in and just told the lady that, and she's like, well, how much? And Miss Higgins didn't give her money or a card or anything, so she just told her go in and like, I don't know, just I don't know how you even, I don't even know what made her think that was something that she could do, you know, that people would just go put gas in the car without us paying. I don't know, that doesn't make sense to me, but I think it made sense to her. So Rebecca came out and said, well, she needs like to know how many gallons and how much money you're gonna put in it. And so she gave her like $18 and told her to go put $18 in the pump. And so Rebecca went in, she's like, oh yeah, and don't forget, like if we don't put all $18 in there, you're gonna go back inside and get a refund. I was like, wow, that's so rude. Like, why couldn't she go do that? I don't know. And so Rebecca came back outside. She was like, ugh. And like as Rebecca was like walking back to the car, this woman was like, oh, I bet she was a foreigner. I was like, what is she even implying? Like, that's kind of rude. And so when Rebecca came to the car, she was like, was that lady a foreigner? And she was like, yeah. She's like, oh, I have so many bad things to say about foreigners, but I'm gonna keep my mouth shut because I don't want to get in trouble, because I've gotten in trouble for this before. What's wrong with this woman? That's exactly, like, that's all I was thinking. What is wrong with her? Later, it was like my turn to drive, and So the other girl got the car, we switched seats, and I was adjusting my mirrors and stuff, and so I was gonna adjust my left mirror, and I could not see out of it because I was like trying to move it and stuff. And she was like, whoa, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm adjusting the mirror. She's like, it's fine, you can see. And I'm looking at her like, I can't, and that's why I'm adjusting it, you know? Like, whenever the driver is driving, you know, we adjust how we need to see it, not how our passenger needs to see it. That really upset me in so many ways, and I was just looking at her like, okay, all right, let's just drive. I can't even see through this mirror, because every time I would try to like see, I would have to duck like to the side a little bit, you know? Oh my gosh, it just made me so mad. And then she just talked so freaking much. Like, every story she could think of, she just had to tell us. Every story. A to Z. She was going through her camera rolls and stuff, showing us pictures. Like, no one cared. No one cared at all, you know? Just put your phone away, you know? Just don't talk. That was just my mood, you know? And, you know, on top of that, she had the music up really loud. And it was just, oh my gosh, it was the worst thing ever. And so, we were practicing doing U-turns and stuff. And whenever you do a U-turn from the left lane, you're supposed to end up in the far left lane in the other side of where, you know, traffic's crossing and stuff. And I didn't know that at all. No one ever told me that. They probably told me that in driving school, but I didn't listen in driving school all the time. But anyways, I went to the middle lane instead of the far left lane because, you know, I don't know, I just didn't know that. You weren't supposed to do that. This lady, she started yelling, "What are you doing? What are you doing? You're trying to kill us." I'm looking at her like, what? What did you just say? What? Maybe you, but what? I'm just kidding. And she's like, "You're not supposed to be in the middle lane." I was like, okay. So I went, you know, she's like, "It's too late for that. It's too late to go to the left lane. Like, you might as well stay in the middle lane. It's like doing a U-turn in the middle lane." I'm like, looking at her like, what are you talking about? Like, you're my teacher. You're supposed to teach me things and not yell at me for them, you know? She had told us a story while we were in the car, and she was telling us of this kid that it was like she had a couple lessons with him, and that he was just being so rude to her and just mean, and just like in his last lesson he had with me, he yelled at me to shut the up. And you know, I mean, this girl, like, I kind of looked at her, I was like, does that surprise? Like, that does not surprise me that someone did that. She's like, in my 30 years of teaching, no one has ever said that to me. It's like, get off your high horse, lady, because, man, oof. Like, I felt him. Like, when she was talking, I just felt it right there and there. Like, he is not wrong, and maybe you should listen to him. Anyways, and so we had like already pulled up back into the driving school and stuff, and, you know, I had this face, like, I don't like it. There's a couple more details in that story, but try to get to the good part. So we had already pulled up back into driving school, and I was just ready to go, you know. I went home, and 2 weeks later I had this lady again. So I had someone in between her, and then I had her again. Okay, so so as soon as I walked into driving school and I saw it was her, this was a weekend, and I saw it was this lady, and I was so mad. I had this lady again. Okay, so she had already said something like she doesn't really like work for this driving school because she works for another one, so I never thought I would see her again. But unfortunately that was not the case. I saw her right again, and I was so sad. So so as soon as I saw her, I had this face like this unfazed look, like I did not want to be there, you know. This recently just happened, so I'm trying to like keep things on low about it, but I was just so mad. Like if I have an opinion, I'm gonna say it. That's kind of always been my personality, but I had really been good with this, like, not being like that for a while now. So, you know, yeah, that's kind of how I am. So she's like, are you feeling good today? I was like, yeah, I'm feeling wonderful. Like, I had this like smile and this, you know, tone, you know. I mean, I guess I was being a little fake, but man, she really was something else. So me and this other girl, because I knew partner this time, we're gonna call her Rosemary, sure. So me and Rosemary, we both got in the car, and you know, this lady, she's kind of slow to get to the car again. I wasn't the first one to drive, it was her driving. And so since she was so slow to come in the car, I was like, have you had this one before? She's like, she's looking at me with these big eyes like, yes. I was like, oh, I was like, she sucks. And this girl was like, I know. I was like, oh gosh, at least I'm not the only one that thinks this. And so so she like turned back, like the woman got in the car, she turned back, she's like, are you having a good day today? She's like, you look really tired. I'm like, oh no, I'm not tired at all. No. Okay, so kind of fast forward a little bit, because she was like yelling at this girl a lot, but to fast forward a little bit, we went to Dollar General. We had pulled in the parking lot there. She asked, she's like, did any guys want a drink or anything? And so it's so weird because like in the compartment, I forgot what it's called, the console, I think it is, you know, she pulled out this water bottle and it was like wet, and I was like, is that like an ice chest or something they're using the console for? Like, what in the world, you know? So I had no, she already had a drink. Like, why is she pulling a water bottle like dripping out of the console? That's so weird. I mean, I don't think it's used for that, but not my car at the same time. So she just like was like, are you guys thirsty? She's like, okay, cool. And like, we weren't thirsty at all. She's like, well, are you guys sure you're not thirsty? Like, she kept asking us. And I was like, yeah, I guess I'm kind of thirsty. So she pulled out $5 and gave it to me. She's like, okay, well, will you go inside and get me a drink and get yourself something? And I was like, okay. She's using me now. Okay. And so Rosemary, she also got out of the car too. Like, she wasn't thirsty either, but she just went with me because I'm sure she had some tea. Like, she had, like, I kind of felt she had some tea to say too. And so we both walked into the Dollar General. She's like, that woman is so loud, she's always talking. I was like, yeah. I was like, I know, crazy, right? And so we went to Dollar General. It's like a long line, so long. And so she had asked for like a certain drink. It was like a Mountain Dew, like the red drink of a Mountain Dew. But she was, you know, she wanted one. And so we went to go look for it. It was nowhere to be found. So Rosemary went back to the car to tell her, and she's like, just give me a Pepsi. And so I found myself a drink. And I also had brought my card with me just in case, you know, there was some type of stop we needed to make. And so I felt like she was going to like let us like use that $5 to pay for our drinks, but I wasn't sure. So I went ahead and paid with my debit card those drinks and stuff. Well, my drink and Rosemary's drink. And so while we were standing in line in the Dollar General, Rosemary was just going on and on about these stories about this lady. And she's like, this one time I was driving with her and someone pulled up in front of us, and Miss Higgins, she rolled down the window just to flick them off. And I was like, wow, that's wonderful. Like, this woman, whenever you get in the car or anything happens, she's like, oh dear Lord, please save me, oh my gosh Lord. And she like prays, like, and it's kind of like a joking sense too, like, you know, and she knows it because she says, like, although it was a half-truth joke or something, she says. And so I was like, I mean, she does seem kind of like Christian, and then she's acting like this. Now this can come back up in the story later, so just putting that out there that she's clearly, you know, back and forth about what she means or whatever. I don't know. All right, so me and Rosemary went back out to the car. She's like, that took you guys forever. I'm like, girl, like, you could not even stand in line this long. Like, come on. And it was my turn to drive. And she took us to these like $1 million houses, which were really nice. And I appreciate it a lot. You know, it's like kind of cool to see how everyone else is living, how I don't live, you know. I'm just kidding. Yeah, she took us to this really nice house and stuff, and so she wanted us to pull up in front of a house, and so we pulled up into like this gate area, and we just sat there like looking like, wow. And so she pulled up the house on like Zillow or something to show us like the prices and like just how nice it was. It was like 6 bathrooms, 5 bedrooms, 11 parking lots. This place was humongous. It was so nice. They had like those security boxes and stuff, you know, like in these like columns. They had the gates and stuff, and like you press a button to like talk to the people in the house. It was a really nice house. And I said, when we pulled in there, I said, I'm gonna live like that someday. And she was like, no, you're not. She's like, there's no way you're ever gonna see that kind of money in your life. Like, okay, so I'm not one of those people, like, I don't just let people push my dreams and my things like aside like that, because that was just rude of her to begin with. Like, you're never gonna see $1 billion or $1 million in your life. I was like, that's rude. Like, that is really rude to me. That, oh my gosh. And she's like, so tell me why you think that you're gonna ever see that kind of money. And so we drove off, and as we were driving, I was like, well, I'm gonna sell my art. And she's like, I hope your art pieces are good. I was like, yeah, they are. She's like, well, how much are you gonna sell them for? I was like, probably a couple $100 for them. And she was like, well, she's like, that's not gonna get you anywhere. I was like, I have a lot of other things going for me, like that's not it. And so I started telling her about architectural. Like, there's not very many girls in that field, by the way, guys. It's a really low number. So I told her I have a really big chance of like moving forward in a field like that, just because I am like one of the many females in that field that are trying to be in there. So there are a lot of scholarships out there for architectural females. So I was telling her about it. She's like, okay, yeah, I guess. And then I started telling her like about Spanish and stuff. Like, I'm still in the process of learning Spanish and stuff, you know. Like, a couple times, like, I was kind of being interrupted by her news stories that she felt like she had to share. But to me, this conversation, it was not over. It was not over at all, and I was not gonna let it go. How dare she be rude to me and disrespectful? Like, no ma'am. And so then I told her, like, I was like, also, I'm learning Japanese too. Like, which this, like, 20 minutes had already gone by. I was like, I'm learning Japanese too. And like, you know, I'm really trying to like, because with languages, you know, it really helps with your fields and stuff, things that you're going into in your careers and stuff. And she was just like, yeah, whatever. I mean, it's cool to know languages. Like, yeah, it is. You know, a couple of these times, like, she was kind of yelling at me, like, push on the brake, you know, like, I don't know. She was just being rude beyond belief. So then we like pulled up to do more parallel parking at this school that like people go to like learn how to do the parallel parking or whatever. And so I like pulled up in school, and I was still talking about it. I was like, because I was not gonna let it go. Like, to me, that's just disrespect. Like, you don't say that to people, and especially like to young teenagers and stuff that are trying to pursue like their life and like get bigger and stuff. And so then I told her about drones, and I was like, I'm in drone club too, you know, and like it's a really kind of a small thing right now, but in the future it's gonna be really big. It's gonna blow up. And she's like, drones? I was like, yeah, drones. She's like, those things that stalk people and spy on them through their windows in their bathroom. She's like, if people want to see what I look like, they can just come knocking up on my door. And I was like, what the heck? Like, I was like, you know what? Not all people are like that. She's like, well, not all preachers aren't like that or whatever. She's like, I mean, there are bad preachers too, you know, that like, I was like, yeah, like, that's kind of what I'm saying, you know, not everyone's a bad person, and not everything's for an evil, like, way. Not everything's like that. She's like, well, whatever, kind of, you know, kind of like rude. How like narrow-minded could this woman be, you know? Oh, okay. All right. So then, you know, practiced my parallel parking and stuff, and then we like drove like out of the school, and I was telling her about YouTube and like how I've been really involved in YouTube and stuff nowadays, and like that's really something that I want to do. Like that's kind of my passion right now. And she's like, oh, I don't like YouTube. I'm like, I don't care what you like. You know, that's like my thoughts. Like, I don't even care at this point what you like and don't like, you know? And so she was like, the reason I don't like YouTube is because this doctor, he's like got 1 million subscribers on YouTube, and he quit his job just to do YouTube. And I'm thinking like, oh heck, I would quit my job to do YouTube, like if I had that many subscribers, because first of all, you're dealing with like patients that are like, you know, mentally ill and stuff, and like it's hard, you know, I get that it's hard to be around all that sometimes, and you know, unhappy people, and you know, dealing with tragedy, it's hard, you know, like I don't need to be a doctor to know that that's something that like it really affects you emotionally, I'm sure. So you know, being able to do YouTube and not have to worry about that kind of stuff anymore, you know, I think that's not a bad thing. And so she's like, so this doctor, he got his wife pregnant, and then he got a test, and then like they saw that she was pregnant, and then the next day they had a miscarriage. She's like, don't you think that was for the views? I was like, okay, it kind of did sound a little iffy, but not everything is like bad, you know? Like that kind of goes back to the drone thing she was saying, like everybody or a number of people, like everyone's doing this and now it's bad. Like YouTube's not a bad place, it's a good place, you know? I think people share a lot of their ideas and crafts, and not everyone's a bad person on YouTube, you know? So I was kind of like, not everyone's like that, you know? You're doing it again, you know? And so at this point, I already had this, like, I was just irritated, and I was ready to go to the car, and we had like a couple minutes left in our lesson or whatever. And so we pulled back into the driving school, and she's like, why have you had this face, like this sad, mad look on your face? And I was like, you know, because she had asked me a couple of times, I kept putting it off. She asked me like when we first got in the car, I told her I just want to go home, you know, I want to play video games or whatever. And then she asked me like a couple more times throughout the trip while I was like, had this like look on my face, and if I was okay. And I was like, at the end, she kept asking me, she asked me like 3 times, like, tell me, like we were already sitting right in front of the driving school, and you know, it's like she wasn't letting me get out of the car until I told her what was up. And so I was like, do you really want to know? Because I don't think you do. And she's like, I do want to know, tell me. I was like, it's like, do you act like this with any of your other driving instructors or even at home? I was like, no, it's just you. Okay, so I actually feel really bad about this now, like just thinking about it, but she started crying, and oh my gosh, this woman got out of the car so fast. Like I've never seen her get out of the car this fast. Like she had never been in a hurry in her life to get out of the car. And so I turned off the car. I was like, oh my gosh, what did I just do? And like the girl, you know, behind me, she's getting out of the car too. She's like, get out of the car, guys, just me. And so you know, got out of the car, and she was like, you need to pray about this. She's like, you need God to forgive you. She's like, I don't know, I've never done anything wrong to you. Why are you treating me like this? I don't deserve this. And I'm just looking at her like, oh, you deserve worse, trust me. Like, and I told her that I was like, well, you asked, like, and I had been so nice trying to keep it in and just keeping it to myself. I really did my best, guys, really did. I gave her the keys, and she like, well, she kind of like snatched them out of my hand, because I was just like, here you go, you know. She had another lesson coming up, and those people were like leaving out their cars, so you know, their parents could like kind of hear what was going on a little bit. And so she was like, you know what, just come inside and come talk to me. So I went inside. She's like, I hope that I never have you again. I was like, I don't care, woman, I don't want you ever again, like, get out of my space. And so went inside, and this woman, you know, she has like her like tissues or whatever. She's like, you know, oh my gosh, being dramatic, so dramatic. She's like, can you please explain to me, give me a valid reason why you don't like me? And like, you know, when you don't like someone, you don't need to always have a reason necessarily. Like, I had a bunch of reasons. I just wasn't fixing there like to stay there and tell her all my reasons. Like, she don't deserve that, you know? So I'm like, I just don't like you. I don't like your mood. I don't like your vibes and your attitude. I just don't like them. And she's like, I've never done anything to you. It's like, okay, woman, oh my gosh, whatever. And so she was like, you know what, go. I don't want to see you again. I left the driving school so fast, bro. Like, I got in the car with my mom. It's like, let's go. Like, I was ready to get out of there. But anyways, guys, that is my recent driving school experience. I hope you guys like this video. Please give it a thumbs up. I know this video was kind of long, and I'm gonna try to like make my videos a little bit shorter because I feel like I have a lot of long videos and y'all don't even watch them, all of them. So, but I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please give a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel, please. It really helps me out. Lets me know if you guys like this content, and definitely comment. I'll see you in the next video. Bye, guys.